Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome, guys. I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy, or vice versa. I'm Tommy. You also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Tucker, also known as Hagrid, and of course, Jackus as well. Hope you guys have had a great start to your Thursday. Maybe not. Looking at the comment section, freaking out before we went live. I just wanted to say, guys, we got our first red candle in about a week, which means it's over. Crypto is going to zero. Pack it up and go home. No, I'm kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. I think it's funny how much people freak out from one red candle after basically a week of up only on a lot of these assets. But we're going to talk about all of that and then some. Hopefully I didn't freak anybody out there with the intro. But before we can start cooking, before we can start detailing our plan for where we think both Bitcoin and, of course, our beloved shitcoins are going next, you guys know what I'm going to ask you. If you can smash, slam, destroy, whatever you need to do to justify pressing that like button, I would be very, very appreciative. You guys have really brought your A game this week. We hit 500 likes live on stream. As far as I'm concerned, that's a record for the stream or for the channel. So shout out to you all. I would love if you can continue hitting the like button. Please, please, please. Do not make us pull up soybeans, or I mean, maybe some of you guys do want to look at soybeans looking at some of these lower time frame crypto charts, right? We had a pump into New York Open, sold off about 4 or 5K on Bitcoin right around the New York Open. I was making a comment to Tucker before we went live, like people love to long assets that have already kind of expanded, picked up that realized volatility. Imagine if you had longed a few Bitcoin at 92K this morning, hoping for that breakout. And then just like that, you're down about 4 or 5K Bitcoin per unit size that you longed. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is chopping leverage traders to death. This is kind of what we predicted could be possible from these levels. We have initiated the first leg higher, and similarly to last fall, right around November, we started to vertically accumulate after that first 1 or 2 legs that we put into, I know it wasn't price discovery last fall, but in this instance, it is price discovery. And then we just started kind of chopping higher while altcoins and various sectors within the market began to catch much stronger bids. So I kind of think that's, at least personally, that's more or less where I think Bitcoin is. You know, maybe a bit of chop, but ultimately vertical accumulation structures that favor altcoins being bid whenever Bitcoin tends to bounce. And I do think, you know, in particular, and I'd love to talk about this more on stream later today. Obviously, we have majors like ETH and BNB that have not quite broken out yet. Sol is in price discovery, but I don't think it's in aggressive price discovery yet. And I do think there is a distinction, especially as far as how beta will perform. But in general, I think this is the part where Bitcoin maybe takes a breather. Breather is relative, right? Just kind of chops maybe below 100K while we start to see some other majors catch stronger and stronger bids, right? Like a BNB or an ETH. But I do think there are some very strong altcoin markets out there. Sure, they are red today because Bitcoin pulled back I mean, think about this though, right? Like, if Bitcoin pulled back 4 or 5K at any point within the range, what happens to altcoins? Well, we kind of know what typically happens to altcoins, at least over the past year or so. So the dip this morning has a very easy explanation, right? And as long as Bitcoin has this much volatility, altcoins will have that much volatility kind of embedded within them as well. But a lot to talk about, guys. I don't want to ramble for too long to get started. It's over. Pack it up. It's time to go home. Would love to know your thoughts on the market. Kidding, by the way, for those.
Yeah, there it is. There
First
it is.
30 seconds of the show. But yeah, it's time for us to go work at McDonald's alongside Donald Trump, apparently. But how are you guys? And what are we seeing in the markets this morning?
You want to take it, Big Duck?
Yeah, I mean, oh, there he is. There he is, guys.
Shine was right.
He's back. He's back. He wasn't here yesterday, but he's here today. He's like Popcat guy, man. You just summon the red candles just summon him. It's
Maybe he
unreal.
is not like Popcat guy. Maybe he is Popcat
He
guy.
could be Pop. No, well, here's the thing about Popcat guy. He actually flipped super bullish in our Discord. He's actually long a bunch of stuff, which
He timed it well.
he timed it well. I mean, no, but yes. You
It
know?
could have been better, but
I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I think we're at sentiment wise, guys. Like, you know, ETH just pumped 1,000 points and pulled back like 300, and it's over. You know, Phil.
Tucker,
I
just had to stop you because right now I think it just came to my head right now, and it was like an explosion. I need you, and it's something we discussed. Wow, wait, I'm gonna steal the chart here, and we're gonna discuss the exact same thing you have there, but with something we have discussed. All right, wait, let me actually wait.
Take it.
God, this is amazing. By the way, guys, you guys should be smashing the like button because this is real alpha that's gonna pop out.
Let's see it, brother. Let's see it.
Oh boy, I'm getting heated.
Put the fries in the bag, bro. Dude, there's no better insult, man. There's no better.
All right, so you guys seeing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was a gap that I spoken about for so long that it's going to get filled, and then we gapped through a gap. Now, where have we seen this before? Where have we seen this before? Could it be Tesla? Right here? Did we gap through a gap? And then we came back to retest the gap, and then we pumped. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now we're talking.
Didn't Bitcoin do that recently? I feel like at some point in that never-ending range, Bitcoin gapped through a gap and then retested the gap from above.
Oh boy. Imagine if we put a up, and by the way, the funny thing is that it's Thursday, and this was actually through midweek on Tesla, because of course, because that was during the election day. But imagine we are heading into a end week, right? It's Thursday, and there is a good chance that we might bounce by end of today or tomorrow, and then by the end of like next week, beginning next week, the chart could open up here. Again, I'm not saying it's going to. That would be so funny if even this gap plays out after. Oh my God, study gaps through a gap. And all of that is coming with the context of reclaiming this range. It's roughly so bullish.
Jackus, you know what gaps are indicative of? Somebody would hate to hear this, but typically gaps are indicative of impulsive moves.
Yeah. Max is here. Max is ready to cook. I suppose I'm gonna pass him the mic back because he wasn't here yesterday and he wanted to cook. Like, he wanted to say Pepe 1,000 times. He didn't.
They want to hear about the frog, man.
They want to hear about the frog.
I guarantee you they want to hear about the frog.
Max, before you get to frog, I do not know when exactly you joined, but I just discussed that because Tucker had a chart on ETH and with the CME gap, right, which I was just discussing on the BB Discord call, and he pulled it out, and I was just looking at it. I just suddenly like had a quick mind shot, and I was like, wow, I've seen this before and we discussed this. And it was on Tesla where we had a gap down, people panicked. Then we had a gap up, retest of the gap, and then it just started
Oh, I
to
love
run and
that.
everyone
I love
started
that
talking
fractal.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing was here. Gap down, range, gaps up through the gap, right? It didn't even fully fill it, then gaps up, comes back to retest it, and I think we are here. And I was saying that it's Thursday, so tomorrow we might bounce a little, just like here, and then it's weekend, and we could open up with the same gap like here. And all of that comes with a context with like the bottoming range, price range recline, and so forth. So what do you think about this?
I think it's very, very feasible. I think this was our breakaway gap. I don't think you're going to get a full refill on the CME gap. I think you're getting a partial fill right now. I think that's all you're going to get. I love the example that you gave. I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah, exactly. Just like that. I'm expecting things to continue to heat up pretty quickly here. I mean, ETH rallied to like what, 3,400, and it's been basically just kind of cooling off ever since. Bitcoin rallied a little bit more. Obviously, Pepe got a big push, but it's about to be ETH season. Like, we know that cyclically speaking, this is roughly the time when ETH BTC typically puts in its cyclical pivot low. And I think that a lot of people are still very underallocated to ETH, and it will be a hated rally. And I think that once ETH clears like 36, 3,800, you're going to be pushing all-time highs pretty quickly here. So I think this is going to be a little shallow pullback. And here's the thing is, like, you don't even understand, you understand, Jackus, but a lot of people don't understand what's going to happen to your Ethereum beta and your memes when ETH is actually ripping higher, like really, really ripping higher. It's going to get absolutely out of control. I mean, you're going to see back-to-back 60% days on your meme coins. And I know it's hard to imagine right now, but it is very real. It is very, very real. So, yeah, I think this is a great example. And I think this is probably the dip for shoving somewhere around here, you know?
It is a dip for shoving, and not just for ETH, but for ETH beta, and we saw what it wants to do. And we discussed this, and I think, by the way, Max, we saw ETH pumping up, and then people were like, why isn't ETH beta following? It just took a few days. Like, people are not even patient enough for a few days, right? Then it picked up.
Yeah.
Currently, ETH is pulling back. So what is ETH beta doing? It's behaving as it should. It's pulling back. And then guess what? If ETH is doing this, and we just gave, and that's why I loved ETH beta, because I know I can chart ETH with big of a precision. I just know what ETH beta is going to do and how high it's going to go. And that's so lovely to have this mind clarity. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the clock is ticking on it, seriously. I think it starts, the latest it will start is next week. Like, I think it's going to get absolutely bid like crazy. But it's also been a while since we've had a really crazy weekend pump. I mean, we kind of did last weekend a bit, but bull markets, if I remember anything from last bull market, it's that we didn't stop on the weekend. We would pump on the weekend. We had a lot of CME gaps. So I would feel very uncomfortable personally not being like fully allocated and positioned here already. I mean, like, people are so eager to like call the top on things, and I'm like, bro, what? Like, how are you trying to call the top after we just broke out of an 8-month consolidation on Bitcoin, and ETH BTC is trying to put in its cyclical pivot low, and we haven't, like, we're not seeing, like, I don't understand. It's like a weird fetish of people to want to like call the top on, like, they're like, oh, 8 months of ranging, we broke out for 2 weeks, time to call top. Like, bro, is this like your first hour trading financial markets? Like, what are you doing right now? You're making a fool of yourself. You're making a damn fool. I don't understand it. So I am I've done my hard work, you know. I have done my hard work. I have been positioned. I have studied. I have studied family. And now it's time to sit back and let ETH do its thing and drag us up hard. All right. Look at this guy working in the background. Look at the fractal, man.
It's clean.
Probably imagine. I think the fractal, if I use it, it doesn't do the gap. Maybe. Oh, it does.
Ooh.
Imagine we just gap through the weekend like this.
Ooh.
I mean, it's possible, man. Here's something that maybe you guys will remember as well. It seems like every cycle there's like a big CME gap that like doesn't get filled, and that kind of kicks off the bull market, and it gets filled back in the bear market, right? For Bitcoin, there were multiple CME gaps that we broke away from early last bull market, and we just never came back to get them until years later. And I think that's usually a really good sign of just incredible demand, right? Which is obvious for a bull market. So yeah, I mean, sign me up for the weekend pump, man. Like let's gap ETH to 3,800 by Sunday night, and we'll leave that until the bear market, right? Fine with me.
Yeah. And then we will hear everywhere, look at the CME gap, we must come back and fill it. And then price will be at 6K and like CME
dude,
gap.
the CME boys are in shambles. They will be. They'll be in
It's
shambles.
like, listen, guys, every CME gap that's above the price is likely to get filled, and CME gaps are very powerful, and they like to get filled because at the end of the day, it's an inefficient price movement, and price likes to come back to those. But not every CME gap below us has to get filled. Sometimes only a touch of the upper boundary is needed, just like here.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I mean, it's there is genuinely not a good reason in the world to be bearish this Ethereum chart right here. You accumulate for what, like 3.5 months, roughly? August, September, October, 3 to 3.5 months, depending on where you want to start from. And you blast through it. I mean, you're not going to re-enter that range. That's what the people fail to understand. Like they also think they're going to get a perfect range high retest after the breakout. I'm sorry. You really think that you deserve a perfect retest of a 3-month range breakout? You think you deserve that? You had 90 plus days to buy cheap Ethereum and you didn't do it. And now you want the retest? My friend, there will be no perfect retest for you. You will take the shallow pullback and you will thank it and you will be appreciative of it.
Not only you had 90 days to buy cheap Ether, you actually, this is what people do not get. You had 4 years or 1,380 days to buy cheap ETH. I swear people are not getting this. This is a range of a lifetime. This is a Wall Street whale range, and I'm not even kidding. Like I swear to you, this is where big money is accumulating. And guess what? They are not accumulating Solana. Well, to some degree, but the most accumulated thing is Ether. Yeah. And you can see it in the chart. And in hindsight, it will be so obvious. But they truly are, because it is the most decentralized proof of stake coin out there. It's the most decentralized application protocol for DeFi. And so they are just stacking with ETH right now in the background. And it's like, it's so obvious right now for Bitcoin how it broke out. And everyone saw the ETF inflows and everyone saw that wealth are accumulating. And everyone was like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. No, it does. But it takes time before they accumulate. They can suppress the price for a while, but when it goes, it goes. And let me tell you, this is the range that's be the range forever. I swear, unless ETH is like broken, which is ludicrous to think, but some people still think that BTC goes to zero nowadays. So unless you are in that camp, then this range, you will not see price below it once we break above. This is your 4-year accumulation right here in this little box. People are overcomplicating it. They are like, no, and they lose the sight of the forest for the trees. But this is truly what is going on. Whales are accumulating in this range forever. And once this gets blown through, whether we get like some pullback here or not, once you break above here, it's game over. Game over for any
It's over.
bear thesis. You might not get this pullback. You might not. This is something higher. I swear people have not studied the Dow Jones enough. We are
Study
literally
the
right
Dow
here.
Jones, guys. Study it. Sorry,
The
Jack. Keep
70s.
going.
Yeah, you are right here, and this is likely to be happening. You are, I cannot stress this enough. It's do I have the right chart now? You are literally at the Nasdaq fractal. Where are you? Oh wait, it's on the other side. No, Amazon fractal. Right. People still think that this is some kind of joke or something. This is where the money is made. It's not made on 200 R scalps. It's understanding the bigger game.
I always try to tell people that.
What if I can risk $1 to make 100?
A Euro scalper, dude. The Euro scalping, man. Like I think there's maybe like 1 in every like 1,000 people that you come across that claim to be able to do it can actually do it over a long period of time. Like we've all hit those like crazy like 100R trades, dude. Some of these people, like I call them the P&L boys. Okay, I don't know where Tucker is, but we love to kind of clown on them together. The P&L boys, man, like the guys that post their like Mexi, perp screenshots, and they're like, I mean, you can manipulate those screenshots. They allow you to manipulate them and change the numbers because it's good marketing for the exchange. Like it's not an honest way to. So they like, they post the setup in hindsight, and they're like, perfect, like 1 minute FVG fill, and then like. They like 500 RR scalp it, and it's like, it's just not real, man. Like I've known guys like that intimately. Like in the early days of BB, like we came across a lot of people. Okay. There's a whole like underbelly to like the P&L boys that you guys, I mean, a lot of people, they see it and they're just like, it's a romantic dream to think like, oh, I can be like all cash all the time and just like wake up, hit a few 100R scalps, make, 30K a day. And then like, I'm rich, Lambo. That shit is not real. Like there might be like some gigabrain autist out there that can do it. I'm telling you, like that shit's not real. What Jackus is showing you, like understanding high time frame positioning and like understanding how to rebalance a long-term portfolio in an asset class that's appreciating, that is where the money's made. Like you don't become a multi-millionaire by like a Euro scalping your way to it. There's maybe 1 in 1,000 guys that you come across that are sincere about it.
I know one guy. I know one guy that did that. Yeah, that's literally.
He's fucking good. He's good.
He is an insane.
One. There's maybe one.
There's one. Yeah. Oh, here's Tucker. Tucker. Tell him about the P&L boys, man. I don't know if you heard about his name, but
yeah, man. If you guys haven't caught on yet, there's a fun strategy they use where they just put a bunch of, first of all, limit orders, which is hilarious.
Wait, why is that hilarious though?
Yeah. They just put a bunch of limit orders, and then they hit a 100 euro scalp. They pick which one didn't get liquidated, and they post it on the timeline, and then you buy their paid service, and that's it. That's the business model. It's great.
Like, guys, understand this. Like, there's something for those of you that don't trade with margin. There's isolated and there's cross. Okay. Isolated is like you take $1,000 portfolio and you're like, hey, I'm going to take $10 of that and risk it on a leverage trade. And you can 500x on some exchanges or 1000x on like Rollbit. You can take $10 of your $1,000 account. And if you get liquidated, you only lose that $10. There's also cross margin, which is like you're using all of the money in your account. All the $1,000 is collateralizing your trade. What these guys do, the P&L boys, what they do is they set like, they find like a certain region and they're like, all right, like we might get like a rejection here. And they take like $1 and they set a limit order and they do it on like 100x leverage. And if they get liquidated on that order, it's an isolated margin order. So they lose the $1. And then they have another order right above that. So then they'll get filled on the next one for $1. And eventually one of those trades is going to get filled and not stop them out and take their isolated margin collateral. And then they're like, oh, see, like 500R. And then like you basically sign up to trade on their ref link or like their paid group. Like that shit's not real. People get exposed for doing that all the time. It's crazy. It's absolutely
Guys,
crazy.
I have no idea what are you talking about. Just look at the richest investors in the world, right? Warren Buffett, 200R scalper, right? Stefan 200R scalper. I mean, Elon Musk, he made his fortune by being a 200R scalper on Doge, right? So what are we talking about?
It's so funny.
This is how we make fortunes. Every rich investor who is a legend was a 200R scalper. That's how he made it.
Jack, because we got totally, that was my fault. I think I sidetracked us. Can you just walk us through this Picasso? This is beautiful.
I might, but I want to know at what number are we? Because are we walking through this chart or through soybean chart?
Probably soybeans.
Let me. Oh, we're at 240 likes and 640 live viewers.
That's
I know
bad.
that's not good enough for you, Jackus.
Wait, how much?
240 likes live, and we have 640 viewers. So I know there are some passive.
I might
likes
just disconnect
there.
straight.
Oh,
Wow, he dropped.
wow.
Yeah, just nuked himself.
He was so upset he nuked himself off the stream. That's crazy.
Like,
Guys,
let's
if
go.
you're enjoying this price action, let's run up the likes a little bit. All right. I promise we wouldn't ask if it didn't make a big difference, but it actually helps the channel grow tremendously. Matthew Kim, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. After all the super chats yesterday from hitting Pepe rotation and Bitcoin chatting, not seeing the love today because BB team guiding during days like these 1% drop LOL are what are most valuable. We will always be here, Matthew. Rain, shine, happy, sad, doom, gloom, euphoria, doesn't matter. Tucker, was that a watch flex? Is that a top signal? What was that? Do you just flash the
No, that is
You
not a
can't-
top. I'll let you
can't
know.
show a watch publicly until it's the cycle top. You know, like you have to be really careful not to even. Remember, you have to act poor until the cycle top is.
Ramen tonight. Yeah, ramen tonight.
This is
Jacket.
what I think
Oh
of the
my
like
God.
button.
That is.
Did you leave because of the like button, Jackus?
Yeah, I straight up disconnected. But then I was like, I like hanging out with the guys. I'm just not gonna cook for a while because this is very underwhelming, undeserving, So it is what it is. I'll just limit the alpha for people in our group, and
Did you know what's so funny is like watching the horse, like I can, how it bubbles around the horse, like it shows that you're talking. It's like the horse puking and like you're talking and it's like
Yeah,
it's so funny. It's like what is the horse doing in a mall? And then the horse is puking in the mall, and the weight is puking, and the weight is bubbling, and it's just like everything's so funny about it.
It must be Photoshop. There's no way this is real, right? I mean, it
No,
can't be
no.
real. There's just no way.
Yeah, likely, but it's still so funny.
All right, it's grossing me out.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just
too much. It's too
foul.
much. Man. I'm taking this back.
Should I
Patriots
share my screen a little bit?
Yeah,
with
go ahead,
the
Max.
Frog
Go
talk?
ahead. Yeah, do it.
I mean,
Frog
for
talk.
one, people are just gonna
Ooh.
cope and see the entire way up, man. Like you're not getting like people for some reason they think that like they deserve a nice pullback. You don't. Like you don't. You had so much time to accumulate. Like you're gonna be forced to chase everything up. They're like, we deserve a flush after the move yesterday. No, we don't. No, we don't. We deserve absolute verticality after 8 months of grueling price action. That's what we deserve. And you certainly don't deserve a pullback because you got greedy and you didn't want to shove at the lows with the boys. So let's talk about Pepe for a little bit here. Now that we've established that you are not deserving of a good pullback, you are not going to get your, premier FVG fill, down in here or whatever. You will be forced to chase. I mean, looking at Pepe for one, I mean, this is an elite meat stick. This is an absolute elite meat stick. And I made a video on Pepe yesterday, so maybe you guys already saw this, but I mean, look, I don't think there's any discussion or debate to be had about the 2.618 getting hit at this point. Okay. I genuinely, I do not think I'm even willing to debate whether it gets hit or not. I think it is, in my view, it is all but concrete. Okay. And maybe I'm overconfident, but my heartbeat is in sync with the frog. You don't understand. Like from day one, after fumbling generational wealth and clawing my way back into a huge position the hard way, a working man's Pepe bag, I have been nothing but in sync with the frog. And let's do this.
A working man's Pepe.
Yeah, I gotta
Man Pepe bag. Because there's a difference, right? Like, we all like once in a while will stumble across like, an easy entry. Like once in a while you just buy something and it goes crazy, and then you're like, oh, I didn't have to do anything. Tommy bought Pepe at like 300K market cap. He fumbled harder than I did.
We'll pretend that didn't happen.
What's that, Tommy?
We'll pretend that didn't happen, though.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But Tommy shilled it at 300K. I faded him, and then I was like, shit, I shouldn't have faded Tommy. That's never a good move. And then I bought it at 2 mil market cap, and then I sold it for a 2x. I've talked about that publicly. And then I had to claw my way back into the position I'm in now, studying the charts, playing the accumulations, getting positioned. And I have devoted a large portion of my time to Pepe. Range high, range low from the Binance listing. Okay. First top at the 1.618. The universe is not in balance right now. All things will be in balance. There will be perfect harmony when this 2.618 gets hit. This is the prophecy. This will be fulfilled. This is just over 50 billion market cap. I think that this is going to happen. Okay. I do think this is going to happen. But there's one thing, and I talked about this in my video yesterday with Pepe, where I might actually have been a little bit off base, right? Because a lot of my analysis it's really based around cyclical timing, right? Like recognizing that price targets, yes, are fun. Yes, there is some big levels, right? Like, a meme coin getting over 1 billion for the first time, a significant milestone. 10 billion, significant milestone. And then, last cycle, Doge and SHIB, the two king memes of last cycle, both kind of swept 50 billion and then rejected, right? So there's kind of that glass ceiling that we have to deal with. So that there's some significance in price targets. But for me, it's more about recognizing where we're at within the larger picture of the cycle and using that to determine when it's time to be fully deployed versus, slowly taking myself out of these positions, right? And I think that maybe because of how long Bitcoin ranged and, you know, where I think we are in the cycle, I might be a little too bearish on Pepe. All right. And I'm going to elaborate on that. Okay. So I talked about this yesterday in my video, but I'm going to do it again. All right. So let me move this up here. So this was the famous fractal that we've been following here on this channel for many months, right? A lot of you guys remember this one. I tweeted about it yesterday. I'm sure you guys saw. But this was the initial playbook right here. You know, both of these accumulation models looking the same, both fantastic memes. And Doge, you know, swept that 50 billion last cycle, overshot it a bit, and went crazy. I'm not going to show SHIB, but it basically did the same thing. All right. Now here's where I'm going back to the drawing board a little bit. Okay, not fully, but I'm open to it. The trigger for these meme coins going crazy is Bitcoin going into price discovery. All right. Now I want you to study this, and it's just something I'm open to. All right. So here's Bitcoin down below from last cycle. So this right here was the all-time high break for Bitcoin last cycle. If you're not watching the screen, you need to watch this, okay? You need to watch this. You need to study and observe this, okay? This was the previous all-time high break right here for Bitcoin when it really finally broke out, right? Now, let's draw a vertical line on where that matches up with Doge last cycle. Okay, so Bitcoin, previous all-time high, goes into price discovery definitively, okay? And then Doge goes crazy. The issue that I'm having trouble with, I'm having a tough time kind of reconciling this. So I'm open to kind of evolving this thesis a little bit, all right? Is that we may, in fact, be much earlier to the cycle than I had initially suggested, all right? So this was the previous all-time high for Bitcoin right here as it pertains to Pepe. Okay, so Bitcoin finally smashed through the previous all-time high. Okay, it is now in price discovery, leading the market, just like it was in December through January of 2021. And what I'm having a tough time with is that my fractal suggests that this over here happened while Bitcoin was still well under the previous cycle all-time high. Where with Doge, this breakout, the mania commenced when Bitcoin went into price discovery. So something that I'm willing to go back to the drawing board on, and I'm watching closely, is that perhaps this is not valid. Perhaps it is valid in one sense that it played. But from a cyclical point of view, we might actually be right here. You understand? Because of how it pertains to Bitcoin going into price discovery. You guys see that? You guys see what I'm talking about here? Where, yes, it played the first time, but we might actually be more like right here than right here because of where Bitcoin is within its cycle, right? So here's the thing. Due to factors, political factors, 50 billion is not what it was 4 years ago, right? There's inflation, there's debasement of fiat. $50 billion valuation is not what it was 4 years ago. So I'm willing to potentially have been wrong on my initial thesis from a timing perspective, because I think that it's a lot more important to contextualize where risk is in the broader cycle than just taking a naked fractal and saying, hey, we might actually be a lot earlier within this Pepe run than a lot of people, myself included, initially prospected. We might be just starting rather than halfway through. You understand? So I actually think that like maybe Pepe goes to like 100 billion plus. you know, and that kind of becomes our new, like, this cycle glass ceiling, right? So I think we're potentially a lot earlier, right? Because if we align my Pepe thesis with where Bitcoin is and we apply proper context to it, it would make a lot more sense that we're right here, timing it with a Bitcoin breakout just like Doge did last cycle, than for us to assume that, you know, we were down here. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to think about this a little bit differently now, right? So I'm still eyeing out that 50 billion level, but it's possible that we're actually a lot earlier than I had initially thought. So I may have actually been too bearish on Pepe. And I would like to apologize formally to the community, to our entire follower base. You guys, if you took my initial entry down here, you're probably up about, you know, maybe 20x already, at least. But I'd like to apologize for being bearish on Pepe. I thought initially that 100 billion was not possible. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. And I will work my best to make up for my bearishness, because there's no excuse for it. I was wrong to suggest that Pepe could only pull 100x from my entry. It's quite embarrassing, and again, I hope that you guys can accept this apology. It's
I don't know, Max.
inexcusable, honestly.
I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to ask for, brother.
I'd like to work hard to regain the trust of our followers for having projected too low of a cycle top. You know, like, why would I suggest that it could only pull 100x from my entry, the public entry, when I think 150x is probably on the table? So I hope you guys will give me the opportunity to make it up to you, you know, and I'm going to be working day in and day out to work for your forgiveness, because I mean, to say that 50 billion is the ceiling, I think it was reckless of me. I think it was short-sighted. We have a long road of forgiveness ahead of us, guys. We do. And I'm embarrassed, man. I mean, I've been known to be conservative, but the mistake I made is, I wouldn't blame you for unfollowing, you know. It's how dare I, you know, how dare I? Sorry, I need a minute, Tucker. I just
yeah, no.
Sorry, I'm getting choked up on the stream. I'm sorry.
Just observing the chart. I don't know if chat can forgive you. I mean, let's let's extrapolate though, right? Like, what does this mean for our other friends of Pepe? All of them.
I have a video dropping in probably about an hour and a half about that, but I'm willing to ruin the video. I'm willing to ruin the video.
Max, just a little bit.
Look, the chat is in shambles, man. They're very upset with me. You know, they've always viewed me as, you know, as a beacon, you know, a guiding light, you know, a lighthouse on the shore of the choppy waters of crypto. And I told them their bag couldn't do more than 100x, you know, and I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. So let's I mean, man, like, let's just talk about fee fi fo fandy here, you know. Let's do a little fee fi fo fandy. A little fee fi fo fandy action. Andy Bobandy, fee fi fo fandy. I mean, look, guys. People just don't want to study. They just don't want to observe. But they will. Andy up top, Pepe down below. I mean, guys, look. Similar to the last breakout right here, Pepe rallied for about a month. And Andy was, really just still kind of accumulating. And there's about a month lag time right here, where from this Pepe bottom to rallying until when Andy, 37 days. So in my view, this really just started right here. This Pepe move has really just started. And what you're still seeing is a giant reaccumulation range on Andy, Bobandy, Fee, Fi, Fo, Fandy. And I don't know exactly when this is going to pop. It could be, here. I don't know. But there's probably going to be, there is already this little lag time between the catch-up trade.
Mm-hmm.
You want your alpha to steal the show. And then you catch a huge rotation, an exponential rotation into your beta. Right? Like this. So the time to position based on historical patterns is now. Getting out in front of this and recognizing that, hey, Andy's alpha is leading. What's most likely to occur is that Pepe continues to Chad, and then Andy and Wolf, for that matter, catch up hard once Pepe starts to cool off just a little bit, right? Look at this. Pepe will find a range higher than here, and when it does, you are going to see Fee, Fi, Fo, Fandy just go nuts, just like it did last time. Pepe cools off, and then last time, once Andy got the trigger from Pepe, it rallied 10x in like a month. So I'm telling you, I'm showing you the data. What has happened in the past, there's a pretty high probability that there's going to be a huge catch-up trade here very, very, very soon. Because Andy is somewhere, like looking at Pepe, Andy is like vertically accumulating like right here. Like this is that same structure. It's just a few weeks behind Pepe. Right? So there you go, Tucker.
Mm-hmm. Just a few weeks behind. I know. I think I really think from an astrological perspective, and Tommy would agree. Yes, this is coming from Tommy, that we basically have like from tomorrow through the end of the month, I think you're going to see a lot of these beta train catch-ups occur. Yeah, for the next like couple weeks. Because you've seen kind of the wealth effect from Bitcoin. You've kind of seen it from ETH into Pepe. Obviously, the listing helped, but we really haven't seen a lot of rotation down the risk curve, right? Like we've just seen stuff get dragged up, and that's really it. So, and obviously, we're not going to get big moves like huge mean reversion until Q1 probably, but I think for the next couple weeks we're gonna have a good time with our altcoins. Is what I'm thinking. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're already having a great time, right?
Yeah, we are.
It's just, you're going to wake up one day. I mean, you're going to start seeing back-to-back 40, 50% days on, Andy and Wolf. And I'm sure Brett will be in there as well.
For sure.
It's just...
it's going to be wild.
It's just all these people, like, I don't understand the feminine urge to want to, like, short... Like, why would you want to, like, on an 8-month, like, Pepe ranged here for 200 days. You could even go back further and count this. Like multi-month reaccumulation, and it breaks out and everyone's like, ooh, top here. Like, bro, you're not getting an entry. You're just sidelined perpetually.
Perpetually sidelined. Yeah. Oh man, what else do we want to look at? I mean, Bitcoin at 89, little bit of a buyback. Not bad. How is Legacy doing right now? IWM, they're kind of selling IWM off a little bit, I see.
Legacy's kind of hit a bit of a wall at 6K. That's a big level for Gamma, for options market makers.
The
So
Gamma
whenever
boys.
whenever you do flip that,
You remember Tommy? Gamma squeeze. Oh man.
Study San.
Study Vanacharm.
I remember there was somebody in the Discord way back in the day that used to be obsessed with Gamma levels, man.
Yeah,
like
we had a couple
intraday,
Gamma
these are
quants.
Gamma levels for the week.
Mhm.
Like, you probably don't know that, buddy. But on a high time frame, I do think that 6K is important. Not, it's obviously a round number, so for that purpose, it's going to serve as resistance. But when you have a high time frame Gamma level, it's pretty clear. We're pretty clearly respecting it right now. I don't expect us to respect it for longer than, I would say, into the end of November, though. Obviously, when you have expiration the second half of the month, price tends to kind of, at least in recent months, it's just kind of been like bleeding back into the daily trend. That's probably my expectation for equities. But, and I will continue to hammer this point home, the second half of November, first half of January, you have massive rebalancing flows happening in equity markets to the tune of like $5 trillion. So there's going to be a lot of stimulus coming to that market. I think it's only a matter of time before you get meaningful price action above 6K on the S&P.
Man, that would be quite something, Tommy.
They think I'm talking about ETH.
Tommy, would you be a gentleman and show me some TradFi charts that you're looking at, like general expectations?
Yeah, I mean they're kind of boring, but we can look at the S&P.
I would like to know your thoughts on the S&P and then potentially IWM as well. Like, how do you view the Russell here?
Let me pull it up.
I just had a normie text me. Should I add to Pepe or more Wolf?
Tucker, I have had so many texts recently, man. There's nothing that makes retail more interested than prices literally going higher, man. Like the normie mind cannot fathom buying cheap crypto.
Dude, it's literally the neuron activation meme. It's unbelievable. It's like who tweeted it yesterday? Or it was BDB. That the only way to bring in normies is to make crypto more expensive. That's
so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
Millions of people are getting rich and you're not. That's the old tagline, right?
That's it, yeah.
Now, I mean, the S&P is kind of like a beach ball underwater. That was pretty much clear during this little dribble. We had it marked out pretty well in our Discord calls. We were saying that the second half of October, as long as you didn't have any sort of volatility blowout from the election, you were just going to dribble down into 5,700, probably bounce after. Not only did you get a bounce immediately back above all-time high, but they absolutely nuked volatility, which isn't a surprise because the market was valuing front-end volatility much higher than after the election. So there was like a 4-point drop in the volatility, that was going to be eventually reflected in the price, and that's exactly what happened with VIX futures. Because they're so tightly correlated, the S&P gapped into an all-time high. But now we're coming into this big level near 6,000 that I just mentioned is a pretty big gamma level for market makers. So it's not surprising to see some resistance here. I think for me, the question is, what does price action on the S&P look like into probably that January, February territory? Is it kind of just like this slow grind up, into that period, and then maybe a pullback before, like super excess? or are we just going to blow off in Q1, which I don't think is impossible either, right? You see people talk about, okay, well, I think the cycle will top Q1 or Q2 of this upcoming year. I think the scenario where that happens is probably a blow off into like January and February, and then you just start topping. That's not really my base case personally. I kind of am leaning that we, maybe pull back into the daily trend over the next 2 weeks, nice and steady, slow grind up, maybe a wobble at some point in like February or March, and then I think you're going to get your real blow off top. But I think the timing of that accelerated price action for equities is what you need to be paying attention to, because whenever that does happen, then I think you need to be a little bit more on alert at that point. But I know this structure looks insane because it is. I still don't think we've had our blow off moment for equities. The question is, is it going to happen in Q1, Q2, or is it maybe going to happen a little bit later in 2025? Still something to watch out for, in my opinion. But 6K is a big level for the S&P.
Tommy, look at sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when you definitively flip it, you're probably going to be like melting higher. It's just a question of, is it going to look something like this? Or is it just going to look like this with the choppiness and then distribution?
Yeah. Dude, look at the bull or the bear trap that ETH put in. Go to 15-minute chart on ETH right now. It's pretty
let me pull up a different ETH chart.
It's pretty savage what they just did, man. Look at that.
I can't have anybody see the proprietary.
Dude, Tucker, I was saying this, bro. People think that they're gonna like get that perfect range high retest. Like, you will be forced to take a shallow pullback.
Lower time frame, Tommy. Lower. 15. Look at that. This zoom out a little bit. Just trapped below those lows, man. Get trapped.
So nasty.
I mean, they could sell this pop a little bit, maybe, but dude,
I love this, man. I love watching leverage traders just get carted out on a daily basis.
I know.
This is hysterical to me. Like, this was a trap right here. They faked the market structure break of those highs and then just immediately nuked it 5%.
Jeez, man.
That's pretty evil, man. But Bitcoin looks fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is there to be bearish about? And I think,
What do you mean,
Tucker,
fine? It's over. 40K.
It's over. It's over. We're just going to protect that low. Like, no matter what, oh my God, I can't draw today. No matter what sort of choppiness we do up here before moving up, like, I do believe this low is going to be protected, because we've seen that before plenty of times.
It's literally 37K Bitcoin, 35K Bitcoin PA right there. Yeah. They're just going to continue to protect every low, raise the bid. Your altcoins are probably going to send during, like, what did dominance do when we were doing that?
I think that's a good question, actually, because
I mean, it probably went up, right? Because
I feel like we're getting close to an inflection point there.
But because when was that chop grind up? Was that like
November 2023?
Was it?
Yeah. So you saw a little bit of bleed into altcoins. Bitcoin dominance more or less kept spiking, but
that's kind of what I expect, don't you?
I mean, it's kind of what I expect, yeah.
For like a couple weeks. And then I really think Bitcoin's gonna steal the show again in December for a little bit. And then probably, like, I think you can get 100K in December, honestly, if you can just vertically accumulate here. I think you get 100K in December, and then dominance nukes for like 6 months straight, and your altcoins go wild.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where Bitcoin dominance will top out. I have a bit of a feeling it won't be like a traditional cycle in that regard. But
I kind of like
it's not
63
because altcoins are bearish.
I think it tops this year, man. This 2020, it tops in 24 for sure. 100%.
I don't know.
Tommy doesn't think so, bro.
I don't know if I agree. I do think that's one area where this cycle could maybe differ a little bit from previous cycles. You know, we're at least the last cycle we kind of saw Bitcoin dominance literally just crash. I don't know if we're going to have that this cycle, to be honest, because I think Bitcoin can go so much higher realistically. I don't know if altcoins will be able to keep up, but I think I'm bullish on Bitcoin dominance with the backdrop that it's not going to be quite as important for altcoins this cycle. Although, you know, maybe when we do see Bitcoin dominance finally fall, and I don't know if it's going to be in 2024, I kind of think it'll be in 2025. If it is going to happen, you know, that's probably when you see VC scams and utility outperforming the most. You know,
will they even outperform though, or will they just kind of stop lagging?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Will they just mean revert? You know,
I really don't know. We could have like a first little mini bull cycle for meme coins, and then we push them to valuations that are so extreme where it's like, okay, the tech is attractive again.
Yeah, I know.
Because if you have meme coins like Pepe trading at 30, 40, 50 billion dollars, all of a sudden the high FDV scam doesn't seem quite so unattractive.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be some sort of wealth effect there probably, but it is hard to imagine right now, you know. But that's just because we're in a meme regime at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I just go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna make a comment about Pepe. If you want to say your piece,
do it.
No, I was just gonna say like there's just no attraction to buy like, you know, Ondo condos. You know, there's just no like I don't know, man. It's gonna take a lot for people to want to rotate from memes to VC stuff. I think like there's just no incentive. Like there's no.
Think about what just happened with
Tucker.
PAL, man.
Yeah.
There is a now incentive for exchanges to fucking pay politicians to do a good regulatory framework for crypto so that fundamental coins can pump again. Because as you said,
that's fair.
People are just fed up with this and are rotating everything into meme coins. And the only way that utility pumps again, and it will, is simply the regulatory framework. And I was saying this for a long time, and I still stand by it. And it's finally coming to a play because, you know, Trump got elected. Regulatory clarity is going to come with him. Pro-crypto, chairmans will be in. Gary Gensler's getting fired. Those are all known things. So I think it's coming, but it needs to be quick. And they really need to. It's in best interest of exchanges because I think that liquidity is coming from centralized exchanges. When I speak of exchanges, I mean centralized and coming to DEXs.
But I just think that, you know, utility rotation is a dangerous one to try to front run. You know what I mean? To try to like be like, you know what I mean? Like rotate out of memes into utility like early, right? I think is disastrous.
That's exactly what I've been saying, kind of differently. That right now people are just flooding from centralized exchanges to DEXs to chase memes, and rightfully so. And it's up to exchanges to do something about this, right? Like they need to pump their coins basically, or they need to deliver. If they have to do it by paying off politicians, so be it. I think that some exchanges are already kind of doing that. We know that there's been crypto people behind Trump, you know, that they paid him off. Probably Coinbase did some big bidding on Trump's campaign too. Just speculating, but I know that I read that someone was definitely for sure behind him or his campaign. So it's up to them, really.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that exchanges have, I mean, obviously they're incentivized to list the things that are going to get the most volume, which in this case is going to be meme coins. I also agree that you know, it's kind of a meme to say, you know, like let's buy utility because it's going to outperform, when clearly meme coins they have a higher ROI than most of these utility tokens. And I use utility very loosely because most of them are not. They just have the illusion of that because they're funded by VCs. I do think the only way I think a utility rotation happens is that meme. It's like I said probably 5 minutes ago, that meme coins climb high enough that the ROI doesn't look quite as attractive as it did. If all of a sudden you have a ton of meme coins trading above like $5 or $10 billion, then you can directly benchmark them now against the high FDB tokens that you claim are a scam. And they're basically valued at the exact same amount. So at what point do you start to maybe believe in the future of crypto other than meme coins? If not then probably never, in my opinion.
I have a thought that the cycle top will basically have the top 100 crypto assets by market cap, like 80 out of 100 will end up being memes. And that will be a pretty obvious, like, hey, there is some value proposition here other than just a speculative frenzy. Maybe we should put our money in something that may actually do something, right? I know it sounds crazy right now, and I'm with you. But I think when you see like 8 out of 10, 80% ish of the top crypto assets, all memes, and multiple memes over 100 billion.
That would be unreal.
I think that's what it will look like. It's going to be a large majority of the top by market cap will be memes. And then I feel like I think you're going to get a blow off top in like L1s, because you're going to see a lot of people like, imagine this, like, imagine how many multi-deca millionaires will be created by Pepe this cycle. They're going to swap it back into ETH, and then ETH will probably run up from like, 6K to 12K from profit taking on memes. So, because if you think about it, like Doge last cycle topped for, during Bitcoin's first top. So you might see like that first kind of sell in April, May for Bitcoin, like a big one. And you might see big profit taking on large cap memes across the board, kind of halfway through our Bitcoin cycle. And people will profit take memes back into L1s, and then L1s, the on-chain wealth effect will roll over into quote unquote utility. So
I think in general, you're going to see altcoins really pick up and outperform against majors when this breaks out.
BNB.
Is there a better setup in crypto than this?
1, 2, 3, 4, baby.
I'd love to know it. I'm sure you could find one on like a meme coin, but for a major, this is to me the best looking by far. And it kind of, when I look at, we always joke about, studying crime. Study the way that altcoins marked up after BNB did this. I'm not saying that BNB is about to pull a 10 or 20x in the same way. I don't think that's realistic. But, Binance coins especially, when Binance made this move higher, it was after this candle that you really saw a lot of these, some of those newer L1s start to outperform, like a Matic, for example. Matic, I think, was still at 2 or 3 cents when this candle happened, and then marked up to $2.50. So some of that has to do with collateralization, and a lot of people will use BNB as a collateral token to get long other assets. And I personally would speculate that the Binance trading desk most definitely does this during the periods of most bullish price action. So
are you telling me that it's coin margin long season, brother? Is that what you're telling me?
I am saying that. Ooh, and I think that Binance coin is probably like right in here somewhere. A little bit of chop.
I love me a bullish Tommy.
I
love me a bullish Tommy, man. There's nothing better.
No, this is one of my favorite charts, man. Like, it looks like it's gonna.
People looks like discount the bullishness of crime in crypto.
That high.
They do.
Start chopping around it and then send. Probably won't even take that much time. It's going to mark up quickly. The only thing I can't
Tommy.
discern is, do I think BNB marks up before ETH? I don't know.
BNB marks up before ETH. I mean,
How's the pair look?
I kind of
Yeah.
think it'll be ETH first, giving the first leg, and then BNB will go. But
Tommy, how's the BNB ETH pair look? Any alpha there?
oh, I was looking at the timing of the breakout while we were on stream, and ETH did go first. BNB was behind it by like a week or two.
I still will fight you, Tommy, on the fact that XRP is still the best looking major, and it's outperforming ETH and it's outperforming BNB.
You know, I'm not that bearish on XRP, Jackus. I'm
But
just
you're
not
bearish on the
about
timing. You're bearish on the timing, and if you look, just type in XRP BNB chart. It's a tradable, by the way, on Binance.
It's not that I'm bearish on XRP. I just think that BNB can mark up sooner.
Well, that's where I'm not seeing it, because if I look at this chart, this is a perfect, range, deviation, breakout, retest, pump. It's coming right now. If you look at XRP BNB, it's literally the same. You had the range. This was sort of downward, but still kind of. You had the bounce, and now you're getting the breakout. And if you're gonna look at the USD pair, it clearly wants to break out. So I still think that out of the majors, like I'm holding BNB, obviously. I've always been a Binance fan to some degree, but I still stand behind the fact that the XRP is going to outperform the majors this cycle.
I think you've got a great.
I think right now.
I
like
wouldn't
6 months from
argue
now.
if XRP is outperforming BNB. A few months from now. I know Jackus thinks it happens sooner than this. This is kind of my plan for XRP. I kind of think BNB can mark up before XRP, but in general, I think that XRP can probably outperform BNB into the end of the cycle. It's just a matter of timing. I think,
Tommy,
but
what
I
do
am, I'm more bullish on XRP than I think the rest of the team outside of Jackus.
I don't agree with the fractal for the sole reason that it's not respecting historical XRP movements. XRP never moves in like steady bull market. XRP always just goes sideways forever and then pumps very quickly in a very short period of time.
I agree. I do think it comes down to what we were talking about 10 minutes ago. Do utility coins, quote unquote, get bid before or after meme coins have appreciated gargantuan?
Yeah. That's a definitely good question, and for that reason, people should probably own both, because you essentially do not know, right? And if we are talking about utility coins, well, then BNB and XRP are definitely both, right? Because BNB is just the best exchange in the world, and it's probably going to stay that way. The BNB is going to be used a lot on it for the rewards, for the launch pools and so forth. And XRP, it's getting used worldwide right now. So it's really just about like the price and the shenanigans around it right now.
Yeah.
Tommy, what do you think about Whiff, man? Curious to get your thoughts on the dog with the hat.
I almost tweeted about Whiff this morning, Max. I'm not gonna lie.
Was it a bearish tweet, Tommy?
It was just a funny joke.
Who's laughing?
No, I mean, it's just it marked up a lot. It's got great catalyst. The chart looks strong. I mean, I would say this really doesn't look that different from something like KeyCat, which is ripping. But Whiff, clearly, I mean, there's clearly a winner if you're talking about which coin retail would rather bid on Coinbase. And and that's Pepe. Pepe is a larger cap than WIF, so you're going to ask me for the ROI difference. I don't really know. But WIF is a coin that really only CT is familiar with. I don't think that will prevent it from going much higher, but it might prevent it from hitting the same ceiling as something like a Pepe. We'll see. You know, the lack of awareness of WIF might turn into a bullish catalyst later in the cycle, but I don't know. I will agree with Intuito, who I've talked about before on the show. It's been a long time, but he's a big meme coin super cycle advocate, and he brings up a great point. WIF has to battle unit cost bias, which most meme coins do not, and I do think that will matter eventually. When we talk about ceilings, you want to shed another zero? Well, yeah, I'd love to shed another zero. Normie gets into crypto with like $50. Oh, I can only buy one dog with hat token, but I can buy millions of Pepe with this $50. So I do think unit cost at some point will play a role with WIF, but I'm not bearish on any meme coin that gets listed on Coinbase at this point.
Yeah, but, I mean, how can you be? I mean, did WIF get Robinhood too, or no?
I don't think it has yet.
They got a long time ago. They got Robinhood EU.
Yeah.
Here, I was just looking at this. This is an old chart that we've looked at before. I feel like there might be a nice rotation into WIF down here in this mega demand, like from Pepe, something like this.
WIF Pepe, yeah.
So, like looking at this, you know, Pepe should outperform it for a while here, but this is an area of interest for me down here. So, like, you know, deviation, bruv.
Tommy, do you have thoughts on this question?
Longing memes on leverage. I hate longing meme coins on leverage. Honestly, man, that's peak greed. Longing meme coins on leverage is peak greed because they literally are coins with leverage embedded into them. You don't need to long memes.
They basically have IV built in, yeah.
It's basically collateralized CDOs.
Yeah.
No, you really don't need to long memes on leverage. But I will say this, and I was telling Tucker this before we went live, and I'll wrap up the show with this, is you don't want to be longing the coins that I know it's really attractive to long the hottest coin on the market, right? But like your risk reward positioning and leverage, if the coin's already expanded, positioning is going to be an absolute nightmare. Look at Bitcoin, for example. This morning, we just highlighted it, 4 or 5K off the morning highs. If you had, say you just long like 4 or 5 Bitcoin, you're down 20 to 25K in under 10 or 15 minutes. So you kind of need to think about your sizing a lot more after realized volatility is already expanded on an asset. So I would say long, if you are longing, if you have to long something, because I know you're degenerates, you're going to want to touch the leverage at some point. I'm going to want to touch the leverage at some point. I was telling Tucker and Maxicoin I want to touch on leverage here in the not so distant future. I think it might have been like yesterday or today, but it's better to do the ones that have not expanded yet because it's going to be way easier to position and you haven't missed any of the move. But of course, you know, timing is another story. Regardless though, guys, that concludes today's episode of Market Check. We hope that you enjoyed it. I'm going to run through a few things before we officially wrap up. But yeah, market's starting to, I don't even want to use the verbiage cool off because I don't think that's a fair representation of what's probably going to happen to altcoins here pretty soon. Maybe just Bitcoin going going sideways and up is more so the current regime that we're heading into with altcoins outperforming. But let's talk about BB Terminal, guys. We have mentioned it a few times over the course of this week. And of course, last week we showed a lot of examples, but guys, it will become your go-to tool for this cycle. Whether or not you are an active trader looking at the lower time frames, open interest data, and all of the different data that we've kind of aggregated for you with BB Terminal, right? I'm a lower time frame trader. I love to use the active trader section. Maybe you're a long-term investor looking to use the DCA calculator, and soon we'll even have a section for the degens. And I guarantee you it will replace the tools that you use on a daily basis to trade in the trenches and meme coins, et cetera, et cetera. So there is going to be a usage of the BB terminal for pretty much every sort of market participant. Stay tuned. And we were even nice enough to package your go-to tool for this cycle with the ability to get a discount entry into our Discord. And guys, we spend about 4 or 5 hours every single day with our subscribers. Again, not hyperbole, 4 or 5 hours every single day, giving our thoughts, our intimate views on the market, of course, and they get access to our channels and community that we're posting in all the time. So your go-to tool for the cycle, your go-to community and alpha for the cycle, bundled together at a discount. How nice were we to do that? But those are available, linked in the description below this video. And of course, Max has the packages displayed up on the screen. Of course, we also have the BB Wealth Management, guys. So maybe you don't want to be in the Discord. You don't have the time to be in the calls every day, or maybe you don't want the BB terminal. You're not as active of a trader, but you trust the team. You know that we're killing it, because we are, guys. I mean, we're absolutely crushing the month of November in BB Wealth Management, for example. But we have a solution for you as well, and that is our SEC registered hedge fund. Like I said, BB Wealth Management, and it prioritizes digital assets in a way that looks to capture their asymmetric history for upside returns while balancing the downside risk posed in any financial markets. So if that is something that interests you, we also have that linked in the description below. Becoming an accredited investor, or LP, like I said, linked in the description below. And we are crushing the month of November. I just had to point that out. But you are definitely, most definitely, I mean, every passing day that goes by, you are running out of time at a higher and higher frequency. But to hone your educational base or reach trading level mastery, like, this market is breaking out. I mean, some things have already broken out, but there are things that can still break out. And if you feel like you have,
Oh no.
oh no, my Wi-Fi just rugged for a second.
You're good now.
You're back. You're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. As things break out, guys, you're going to want to know exactly how to approach this market, how experienced investors and traders approach this market. And BB Academy is the best way to do that. So check out our course, guys. We have a few free courses in there for you as well, but the full-blown paid course is absolutely the way to go. Especially as we head into a bull market where there's going to be a lot of volatility and a lot of opportunity. But thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. We will be back for another episode of Market Check tomorrow, Friday. Can't believe it's the end of another week. But we are live Monday through Friday. Every day that the New York Stock Exchange is open, with a typical start time around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, don't forget Wabi's show, Market Talk, hosted through the Because Bitcoin Twitter account. Make sure to follow both his Twitter and Because Bitcoin, so you can be notified not just when we start those spaces, but also when we schedule them ahead of time. But that's all from us, guys. We hope that you enjoyed the show today. Happy Thursday. Like I said, we'll be back for another episode tomorrow. And thank you all so much again. Have a great day and stay safe.